Okay, I think we're here now. We're in the building. We're in the place to be. I'm your guy. I'm the host. I did a video just a moment ago on the timeline. Shout out to Substack. Put something on the timeline regarding basically um, just where the show is going, what we plan to do. The technology is moving crazy around us. As you guys know, the AI is just moving like crazy and crazy fast, crazy cool. And we're here to do the work regardless and what's going on. So yeah, we wanted to get into a few topics today. It's been a while since I got in front of you guys and spent some time with you. With put this here, put this here. Sorry if that's annoying on the side, it's my bad. But anyways, you see, I've upgraded the equipment a little bit. We've streamlined the way we're gonna record. We're going to we're gonna do it efficiently. So I'm your host. Welcome to Meet the Innovators Radio, the podcast. I'm your guy, the Namaste one, the XYZ, the auto one, the frozen one. It's been, kind of like the frozen type shit. I'm quite not the chosen one these days sometimes. It is what it is. Um, but we strive and we're here. Um, and we're reshifting. We're doing the best that we can. We're making the most out of opportunities. Um, don't mind. Do a little bit more housekeeping here, real quick. Give me just a second. Just want to make sure the phone doesn't die or anything like that. So we plug it in. Yeah, still going. Good to go. Green lights all across the board. Yes, sir. Like that. So yeah, thank you guys for your patience. We got some more interviews that you'll see be dropping throughout the rest of the month. Up to July. There's a lot of positive changes that are happening. There's a lot of changes that we cannot control that are happening as well. And there's ways that I'm actually being stretched as a human being as well. So, um, I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to show up and do the things that I'm doing and to be who I am. Um, I've fought my whole life to arrive to this place, and I've put a lot of energy into it. I've seen it pay off. And I'm at that space in life where it's kind of what they say, come to a head. It's come to a head. And when it comes to a head, it's sort of one of those things where it's like you're at that fork in the road. And that fork in the road is kind of like challenging me as a man first. In what ways am I made of? And what am I providing to the game? So we'll get to that on the back half of this particular broadcast, with it being Men's Mental Health Month. And happy Pride to everybody who's celebrating Pride. We'll get to that. Um, Pride is a very special time. And those who've been celebrating, we want them to feel honored. We want you to feel heard and seen. So, um, We've had an interesting June, if you could say the least, right? Getting right into it. This is your platform for amplifying Black voices in the creative arts. I'm your host, Shimmy Well Namaste. You guys can subscribe by hitting the subscribe button and give the gift of subscription. Please give the gift of subscription. Tell people about the show, what resonates with you, anything that you heard. I'm always open to even being challenged on some of the things that you may hear. Um, I'm here to grow. I'm here to be my best self. Um, so you know, we've seen June kind of it's getting up out of here. Word to Joe Budden, and there's a lot of things that have been um, there's been a lot of things that have been happening in this month of June. Uh, I started out the month. Shout out to my boy Love Mister. Shout out to Love Misters in the game. And he hopefully is going to get into Streamer U. Shout out to everything that's happening over there at Streamer U. Um, he's been going throughout the Columbus area, passing out Tone. I don't know if you guys have seen Tone. Tone. Do I have some Tone? Tone. Shout out to the creatives. Tone, aluminum free deodorant, up to 48-hour odor protection. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Swipe onto clean, dry underarms. Apply 2 to 3 swipes every morning for best all day experience. As for, especially for those streamers that be sitting in front of their computer all day, make sure you guys smelling good. Because once, who was it? SZA who said them boys is musty like that? Yeah, shout out to SZA. So we've had a lot of things happen this month, man. We got the World Cup, the Knicks won the championship, the White House hosted a um, UFC, whatever that was, his pay-per-view event. The Obamas got honored, the World Cup, you know, it's up. It's up. So I would like to get into, pardon me as I get my notes up. No, yeah, I be having notes. Just don't do it, just don't fly off with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got these notes and we gonna use them. But we want to start with the music. You know, we're midway through the year, 6 months in. Oh yeah, where am I at right now? I'm in Columbus, Ohio. We're at the Dr. Martin Luther King Library, Historical Library in the Old East Old Town East. One of the older parts of Columbus, one of the original parts of Columbus. You still see some cobblestone driveways through here. It's really one of the most unique places in Columbus, in my opinion, because of the rich history. There's a lot to do around here, Franklin Park, all kind of things. Uh, but for some reason, it doesn't want to load my chat or to Google Gemini. There we go. There we go. What's happening? Sometimes technology can work with you, then it'll work out totally against you. But we're getting that shaken. And word to you guys for being patient with me on the live. But welcome back to the show. We're 6 months deep in, man, and it's time to talk about album of the year. And I have to give a big shout out to also Justin Hunt, Culture United, everything that he's doing over there, Third First Podcast with Stat Quo. Stat Quo be talking on his ass a lot of times. Out of the contrarian nature, I get what he's doing there. Sometimes it's a little cringe, but lean into the cringe. I think what they're doing there is very cool. Culture United is so far ahead of the game. He's putting on black journalists. He's putting on journalists in the culture period, but at the forefront, you have seen black journalists. You've seen black curators. You've seen black thinkers, writers discussing the culture, and they have even a cool. They even have a cool culture united, culture united, a culture. We're culture united. I like that. It's a vibe. We're 6 months deep in, man, and it's time to talk about album of the year. Yeah, we're getting to that time. Yes, sir. It's time to talk about album of the year. Yes, more albums on the way, but we know in the music industry it goes like this. They try to get the albums out before the fourth quarter, right? For the holiday season. Technically, after back to school, holiday season. Holiday season. Hey. So, we got some joints that came out this year, and I think we need to acknowledge, hip hop really bounced back this year, in my opinion, in a unique way. And I don't think it's because they begged Drake to come back, and because they really did beg Drake to come back. I really do think it's because we have a breath of fresh young talent that's been breathed into the system now, breathed into the game, and it's given us the opportunity to have a more diverse palette of hip hop music, R&B music, and whatnot. You got Iceman that's going to be up there, is dominating in the billboards. Songs on the charts, people playing it. Can't deny, Drake is not uh, my favorite artist at this stage of my life, but he makes hits. He makes things that people enjoy. And to see him at 40 years old still be quite relevant, like in a way where we really haven't seen before. Uh, the youth culture is playing Drake. It's not like we got the divide where they're like, oh, that's that old folks music. Drake, he's defied that, and you can say maybe because the subject matter is always elementary or whatever the case may be, but it works. We'll talk about OVO being in debt on some other time. That's not the purpose of this. We're focusing right on the music. Not going to focus too much on the business in this particular broadcast. But Iceman is up there. You have Don Toliver, which is my favorite project. See, I got the merch. Got my Octane shit. Got my Octane shit on. You see it. See Octane London. I was out there, man, and let me tell you, those kids, they were moshing, they were vibing. Why would I play what why would I play when I know it's just like Tesla, you just gonna run it back with that right there? He had the spot going crazy. You hear me? Had the spot going crazy. Um, People are speaking a lot about that Vince Staples project that came out. I haven't heard the Vince Staples project. I don't. Um, I like Vince Staples. He's not always been one of the artists that I kind of ran to, but I understand what he does, and he does it quite well. And they're saying this project is it's very political, which is the type of music that we actually need at this time. And I was hearing Ebro, shout to Ebro in the morning. I like how you guys have pivoted from the Hot 97 debacle that we want to get you guys from, see your own value. Shout out to Ebro in the morning. Well, Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg show. Uh, hmm. Ebro was saying that the type of music that he was hearing on Vince Staples was like anti-establishment, the type of stuff that he likes to hear. Real lyricism, obviously, and dealing with the times that we're in. So Vince Staples, just on subject matter, it should be one of those albums that's mentioned. Don Toliver should be one of those albums that's mentioned. Iceman is going to get one of those looks. I don't think Made to Honor Habibti is hit on the same level. I believe those crowds are still very niche. They like that particular version of Drake. Yeah. But for him to drop it and still stay out there and do it, and I hear people saying, he just had to get out of his deal. We don't know that, man. We don't know that. We have no idea. From what we're hearing, he might be even re-upping the deal. And then we hear that he's in debt, the label's in debt. So, that's what they're trying to sell State. Uh, well, not State the company, but their stake in OVO. But I think it's like, that doesn't matter as long as the music is hitting. Let the people handle it, the business that handle it, and let the people who do the things that do what they need to do those things as well. So, uh, you know, Dust is my favorite joint off that Drake. Go blow the dust off your tracks is hard, hard body, hard body. Like yeesh. Now I'm not with the twisting, plot twist, and encouraging dudes to throw up sets and stuff because you're gonna get people like in a bond or they repping something that they ain't really about. You better never for that. And I don't really like when Drake goes into his I'm a gangster type bag. Even if you own some shit, man, like if you build a fan base off of like basically, making kids pop hits, really like hits for on the kids bop level, like now you're in this lane. It comes off kind of like, okay, what are we doing? But it's resonating with the people and they're fucking with it. So, you know, uh, I still have Don Toliver personally as album of the year. Tierra Whack is about to drop Wax Museum. Tierra Whack is hella dope, y'all. And the women been carrying it. We don't want to make this women versus men. We just want to talk about MCs. And Tierra Whack is one of those MCs. We know Lotto dropped this year, gave us different content. We know that I think Mona Leo dropped as well. All the non-blacks to the back, all of that. And put you down, put you on, all that. Heat, Heat rocks. So I'm curious to see what the coach is going to head to. But my album of the year right now, I have Don Toliver. The Cole's project, J. Cole's project is up there too. Uh, I stopped playing it after the interviews. I felt like the interviews did not do him justice. I felt like, and I was, we was early on the game. We go run those episodes back, get ready with me. I'm getting ready, and we talk about Cole being a little disingenuous. And I think that came back to bite him in the butt because if it did not bite him in the butt, you'll start seeing numbers on how well the album is doing. And we really haven't seen that kind of buzz, you know what I mean, after the first couple weeks, or maybe even the first month, it's sort of been quiet. So I think that it goes to tell you, sometimes you can't put your foot in your mouth in this media shit. We'll get to that a little bit more. June has been one of those months, man. It's been one of those months. Yesterday was summer solstice, so it's the longest day of the year. And when it's sunlight, I was at the park, had me a couple of brews, taking it in. Um, but there's something interesting that happened last week, right? The Knicks won the World Championship, NBA Championship. Incredible feat for Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Cat Williams, Josh Hart, Miles Bridges. Shout out to them boys that made it happen. Shout out to the Villanova boys. They go from NCAA champions to NBA champions. It seems like it was written for those three guys. And beautiful, beautiful stuff. Beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns. New York fans, eh, cringe. But again, leaning to the cringe New York fans. I saw Shorty was twerking on the light pole. Yeah, putting out on the Bronx, definitely. And it's like, that woman could have been an implant. Like, I don't know what it is about you guys against the Bronx, but it seems like it's shade against black and brown communities. But glad here some places the Bronx is really nice. But anyways, New York, New York, New York, New York. Knicks win a world championship, defeating the San Antonio Spurs, who led most of that series. Victor Wembanyama doing what he does, you know, being all over the floor, but not quite being able to close it out like a true champion. You saw what a true champion was in Jalen Brunson, quiet, ready to attack, ready to show, give that man his crown as King of New York. They say I look like him, but I'm older than him, so he actually looks like me. Word to his father, Rick Brunson. But clean that up about Patrick Ewing being the greatest Knick when your son right there won a championship. And because it sounds like it's a little hate, it sounds like a little generational hate right there. Because I mean, even you got a ring now because of your son. And it's not because of Jalen Brunson; it's a team effort. But look at Jalen Brunson's numbers, right? 45 in the closeout. Hmm. Rick, wake it up. Anyways, while that's happening, though, what was the next day or the day after? The UFC is hosted on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. What address is that, you say? That is the White House. That's right. The UFC was on the White House lawn, grunting, slamming, bringing raw, unfiltered energy into what they say the cultural mainstream. Now, I would say, like, I will say this as a person that's been in events for like, as a person that's been in events for over 10 to 15 years, to be able to bring a ring, stage, lighting, audio, all that to the front house, White House, front house lawn, the front White House lawn is an incredible feat, right? I would love to have been on the show to work it. I would have been right up there helping with the lights and the whole nine. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and be like, why would they do that? Man, if they had put the NBA Finals on the front lawn, I would have taken that as well. However, the incredible feat that it was, how can I put this without sounding hella divisive and liberal? The incredible feat that it was overshadowed by 2010 talking points from people who were upset that a different regime that did not look like them was in office running the country. So anybody that you would have picked in 2010 that had that mindset, you put a mic in front of their face, there's a few things that they were going to say. Barack Obama's not from America. He's really from Kenya. Those aren't his children. His wife's a man. And he's trying to take our guns. I have to gather myself because as someone that worked in the initial campaign, shout out to Quentin James, shout out to Obama, Change for America, Hope for America, early 2000s. I was a teenager learning collective action, learning group economics, learning group theory, learning on how to leverage small amounts of money into a major pot. Uh, we set that record. I don't think it's been broken since for the most donations under $25. being that the poor, the low income, disenfranchised put their money into this campaign, the real people, seeing those things happen and being part of it, was something I can't to this day, buy back. I really can't. Like um it's one of those things where I'm happy that I was involved. I'm happy that I had a part and I was able to learn. And shout out to Quentin James for inviting me when I was who was younger than me, invited me there to be a part of it. And it's historical. We will never see anything like that again. I'm telling you. Uh, and to see what he went through in his presidency and all the backlash and whatnot, something that we all expected, something we all knew. And for him to really handle it with grace, uh, and contrary to popular belief, he did a lot for Black and Brown communities, from payday loans, uh, really aggressively saying, you know, to cut down payday loans in the community, for him to mentally push us men into analyzing ourselves as Black men and what we're bringing to the workforce and the workspace, because we knew we had presidents in office that represented us, at least in looks, demographic representation. And even though now representation politics does not seem like it's as important, it was very important in that late '90s, early 2000s. Uh, and that ripple effect it gave way to a changing of the guard in management. We saw over that next 10 years after that, we've seen more African Americans, more Black, Indigenous, more Brown and Black community individuals getting hired in management positions. Now, since there's been a new administration, has there been a backlash? Yes. I think this is one of the examples here. Um, but for them to have their event the next day, the unveiling happened literally the next day after this event. After hearing again your wife get humiliated in front of a rabid audience that was looking for, like, first of all, you're on the White House lawn, you're in the on the lawn of the most powerful office in the country and maybe the world, and the first person that's on your mind is someone who's not in office. I think that's just like that's so poetic, right? Only for the next day, the person that you were speaking about, we're talking about First Lady Michelle Obama, for her to give an arousing call to order speech yet again, dedicating her family name to this presidential center in Chicago, the city that they got started in, to see the Roots come out there, to see Common come out there, Bruce Springsteen to come out there. You could feel the difference between something being historic and powerful in a clown show. Right. You got chaos on one end, and you got just dignified excellence on the other. Now, it's sad that we have to say, has the Obamas done everything that we wanted and this, that, and the third? No. What president has? But I can tell you, out of the other ones that have ran, he was the closest one that got something done for us and represented us and challenged the authority and actually made sure America stayed challenged. So, you know, and to much of the credit of First Lady Michelle Obama, she has, for the most part, stayed apolitical. She hasn't been as divisive with her speech. She has, kept her mindset focused on, you know, uh, doing things the right way, being a woman of class. She's on her fashion. She hasn't once come out to try to defend her sexuality or leak a sex tape just to prove that she's who she says she is. Like, just a model citizen. And I like that she hasn't ran for office. I like that she's just doing her thing. Like, just do your thing, First Lady. You've done quite well, and we should support you. We do support you over here at TI Radio for sure. But it's just like that is just like so funny. It's just like when, New York wins the world, NBA title. It's a very New York thing, and you look out at their fan base, they're mentally losing it. They're just like, oh, you would think they laced up. And I get like these are people who are lifelong like Knicks fans who've never seen them win, and now they see them win. But there's some people who they're taking the energy to the streets, like they're just like they need something to spaz out about, so it's going to be the Knicks. Uh, First, it's like the World Cup, right? The World Cup, a very diverse palette of of just ethnicities, right? Nationalities coming together to compete over a sport. And you see the dominance of Black and Brown communities, no matter how separate they are linguistically or by colonistic cultures, you can see them come together and still have a same competitive spirit and compete with joys. Now we know some of these governments, they put a lot on these games, and some of the guys are out there kicking that ball for their life. and but let's just keep all things equal on this broadcast by saying that for what we've seen and what we've been allowed to see, it's been quite peaceful. And uh, there's been an education to understand so many different cultures and things that are not like us. And what's beautiful about it is that the World Cup is being held in Atlanta, Georgia. That's right, Atlanta, Georgia, the same place where the Olympics was in 1996. Atlanta, Georgia had the Olympics in 96, and now they have the World Cup in the South, in Atlanta, in Black Mecca Haven, right? All the digs y'all put at Atlanta about it, the gay guys and stuff like that, even though it's Pride Week and I thought we were supposed to be celebrating, the shade y'all give to Atlanta is amazing, but they're still hosting the world's biggest sporting event. And that's so beautiful because Atlanta is so full of love, so full of art and culture in itself. And that just enhances the culture, just like it did, just like the Olympics did in 96. The Olympics in 96 definitely did enhance the culture, brought them to a different space and a different time. And I think that was really cool to see that right there. Right there is where it all goes down. And being a guy that's from the South, we didn't really see a lot of different cultures. It was just kind of black or white or Mexican. Um, Even though within those cultures there is a lot of different types of culture, but specifically when you move to Columbus, Ohio, I've been able to see a different palette, and it's given me more education on how to, maneuver in assumptions that I have as a man, assumptions that I grew up with. Uh, I think so. A lot of those things are helping me become more well-rounded. And I still make mistakes. I still make statements that you could tell I'm a Southern Black man because I'm a Southern Black man who have been nowhere, as they would say. But a part of me carries that because there are brothers that are back there who aren't going anywhere anytime soon, and they come to my particular content to be educated, and I speak the language, and I'm grateful for that position because we all need growth. We all need to grow. We all need opportunity to see things from a different perspective, and that goes into you know, the rest of June. June's been a Pride Month. June is Pride Month, been a Pride Month. And Pride has come a long ways. And even though it's celebrated in major metropolitan cities and online, in these other rural markets, they don't have quite the visibility, don't have quite the resources, don't quite have the community that you will find in these major cities. So the fight for them to be seen, heard, and felt is very tough. And you find in a lot of spaces they are re- uh, you know, they're just reclusing back to other subset uh, rooms and back channels to just to survive. Like, everything from like bathhouses to whatever the case may be to create their sense of community amongst themselves. And a lot of those places are policed and placed under high levels of scrutiny because of the certain activities that may be assumed to go down in there, right? Hell, they call, if you look online, they call former President Barack Obama Bathhouse Berry because of there was rumors of him participating in the bathhouses um, and while he was in college. Um, we don't know if those things are true; those are all alleged things. But if they were true, what's the problem with that, right? If we're celebrating Pride Month and we found out a black man went to great lengths to understand himself and his identity, who was biracial, um, and he went through, these different measures to discover themselves. What's wrong with that? And I'm still trying to discover that myself. Like those aspects of our minds, right? In Pride Month, because this is the month where you're supposed to stand loudly and proud. I myself, I've been in sexual situations where it's not been one on one with just a woman. You know what I mean? It's been, you know, a room full of us or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not attracted to the guys, but I'm attracted to how they're making a girl feel. And if I had to challenge my own thinking and being like, that's not just being straight. You know what I mean? Like there's some level of queer in that. Um, when you say, like, hey, let's this girl want both of us, dog, be real. Because running away from that type of mindset is not going to allow us to grow. You know what I mean? You got to look at the courage of these people who stood out to be who they are. You have to respect it. Not, I don't, I do have limits. There's boundaries in everything. So the individuals who are like, the people who are going to the furry lands, the youth attracted individuals, all of those individuals, like, I don't think you should be as loudly and proudly about those things. I think you need to unpack to look back on a little bit more and figure out what's going on. Because citizens definitely need to be protected from all manners of things that are out here that need to be explained to weaker vessels or more immature minds. They need context. And if you're not able to give them proper context, it leads to manipulation, right? And in my space, I try to like break through those walls by I try to go to these dark corners of kind of like society where people aren't really having a real dialogue. They're really just like making it through life and nothing is really changing. And I want to ask tough questions. I want to make the cringe statements to see how people react. So we know what we're really dealing with. And I've always been that way. And I'm learning on the limits of that. But it's because my original upbringing, right? My original upbringing is me knocking on multiple doors for, change for hope for America, talking to different people, asking questions, speaking down barriers. Like when we have community gatherings, we have tough questions on that board. Some of them are a little cringe when we're talking across the table in these different functions. I'm having to adjust and acknowledge where I fit in and where my bigotry or where my internalized, like, you know what I'm saying? My internalized uh, indifference shows up, which leads us to that intersection in June, right? It's Pride Month, but it's also Men's Mental Health Month. So as a man, you know, and if you're a queer man, Pride Month actually you get a double whammy. You get to come out that closet, stand in your truths for your mental health. Right. And when I say come out the closet, I don't mean like you need to go make a big post about what's going on, but embrace yourself. Embrace who you are and the things that you're doing. Don't have shadows of yourself running around and you're not able to confront them. Like, be who you are. Right. And it's good for your mental health. Uh, Men's mental health is a month that we ask them to do what typical men haven't been doing. We ask them to not be stoic. We're asking them to stop hiding, to be more vocal about your issues. And before the month is over, I want to extend that. For brothers, if you're going through things and you want to talk about it or you want to vent, you want to come on the show to vent about things, let me know. We got some more episodes on the way, interviews that are on the way that discuss some of these particular things in June. And you can hear how men have pushed themselves beyond what was asked of them or even what they asked of themselves. And, when we look at the state of men across the board, if you look online will tell you that there's a male loneliness epidemic. I lean more into it being men having to recalibrate to the time space that we're in because it's not the time space that their father or their grandfather lived. So the advice that they got from those older generations, some of that advice has been toxic and they've happened to rediscover what it means. As they're continuing to chip at the patriarchy, men are having to decide how they show up in other people's lives and the things that are important to them then, right? Uh, and I think like that's where it's different compared to Thomas Pass. You know, men having to take an extra minute to think about what they're saying and what they're posting than what they did before. Before it was like, the world just a platter for men or however they put it. And that's changing where women and non-binary other people are coming into positions of power, standing in their truth and they're challenging uh, you know, cis men masculine ways of thinking. My thing is also if you're queer and you're a man, you're still a man. And this is your month as well. And you can speak up about your challenges that you've had growing up and discovering. I'm attracted to women, but I have friends that are attracted to the same sex. I have close family members that are in same sex relationships. And I've had to learn what that means and what do I mean as a cisgendered man in their lives. And I've put my foot in my mouth a few times. That just comes with it whenever you're living in authenticity and boldness. Putting your foot in your mouth and not playing it safe is the best way to go for me specifically. And I've said multiple times where, the world doesn't care about what a man feels like or what he does unless he's gay. Then they want to hear. And those things aren't right to say, but it's come from a real place. So, you know, me saying those statements and going back to look at things I've said in the past has caused me to really look at myself and say, okay, what spaces in your mind and in your mental health do you need to address? And I come from parents that did not address their mental health properly I was born from a mother who's bipolar 3 or something like that, BP2. Um, and, a father who was never diagnosed, but, has made uh, tons of decisions over times that has impacted the women in our life, has impacted his children, and has impacted his position as a father to a point where our relationship has become strained because of the treatment, not necessarily that he's given me, but the treatment that I've seen him do to other people. Because it was like, if I see you do that to other people, I know it's going to be on my turn and I have to get away from that energy. And if I want to grow as a man, I have to get from that energy that is stymieing me from my growth potential. And I say that as a 40-year-old man, like my midlife, coming to these realizations have been quite tough. But I push myself because I want to be my best for me, right? I'm going to look in the mirror and be proud of that person. And there are times where it's not happened. There's times where I've been very proud. And there's times where something has ended or has not worked out even recently. And it's because of the things that I've said. And I know what I actually meant. And I know from the intent that I said it, but I was being misunderstood from a perspective of not that, hey, let me understand what you mean more, but I don't like this person. So whatever they say, I'm going to already just dismiss it. I'm going to take it on this end. And I've had to learn like that's their prerogative. And there's no people pleasing. There's no amount of like anything that you can do to uh, stretch that. There's no stretch. There's no unless you are willing to go down a people pleasing hole. So, I'm just in that space now where I want to admonish the other brothers, younger brothers, to dig deep, right? To dig deep, see how are you showing up in the lives? Are you empowering or are you like keeping people from their best self? Um, and for anybody that I have hurt in the past with things that I've said, I will apologize. I'm not going to make excuse for the things that I've said. I'm not going to even try to justify the things that I've said, but I will apologize for how I make people feel. I'm not responsible for it, but it does matter to me. And I have to say that because it does. And that's unique to me. Um, and it's unique to how I carry myself. Um, and I think that that is going to be my trading card when it's all over. You know what I mean? When it's all over, I think, people are going to remember that quality of me, that I'm not perfect, that I'm not trying to do things even in a polished, perfect manner. I'm just trying to be raw and authentic. And with that being said, I want to tell everybody out there, man, just keep going, right? It's going to look different. Technology is changing fast. People are fighting for their rights to do this, that, and the third. And, you want to be able to show up in your life. Um, I'm pushing myself. I'm going through a very dark period, you know, and I'm welcoming it because it's sharpening me to my highest self. It's testing the level of man that I'm in, and I want to continue to do so until I can't. You know, uh, we lost Tate Keith. You know, wasn't even 30 years old, so age isn't even a real factor. He was, there's there's reports coming out that there was drug use, things like that involved. But either way, He's not here. Uh, and if he was in good health, then it was a situation that he lost his life due to, participating in a recreation to escape where he was at. Still kind of tells the state that we're in collectively. And I want us to dig deep. Just want us to dig deep. Moment of silence was for Tay, other brothers who have lost their life. It should be here. Uh, Ending this on a lighter note, I saw Juneteenth celebrations across the country, and I was just so proud of how our community shows up. With the bicker over the colors of a flag, guys, that's going to come rectify itself over time. But showing up for one another and celebrating one another is kind of all we have. Long live Guy Rodriguez Cardell, the mad artist. And I'll talk to you guys next time.